Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Mawlana Muhammadin wa alihi wa azwajihi wa zurriyyati ajma'in. Later in 1930, in his famous lecture on the essence of truth, Martin Heidegger would say, "Freedom will make us true." In these youthful articles, the exact opposite applies. Truth will make us free. Truth will make us free. And this truth is not something that man could arrive at on his own and from within himself. So truth doesn't reside in self-sufficiency, in autonomy, in freedom, in self-determination. The truth doesn't reside in the self. Truth, in order to see the truth, you need to transcend self, at least make it worthy of that truth. But something he received from living community and of faith and its tradition. So faith is not, the way to the truth is not subjectivity, self, but a certain community dedicated to the truth, and importantly, the tradition of knowledge. So this community, I think he is talking about, or he should be talking about anyway, is the community of knowledge. In our tradition, this is what we call the tasalsul, continuity. And ijma, the consensus of the community. That community is the community dedicated to the truth, not any community. That's why the community is the community of knowledge. And the tradition is the tradition of knowledge. So that much we had covered last time. Only here does the great happiness of possessing the truth exist. Within this community, one that no one can attain on its own. So the self-denial is very important for the truth. And community dedicated to the truth and belonging to that community is very important. Truth, self-denial, because self is hijab, a veil between you and the truth. Self, which is not purified of desires, especially the negative desires, and belonging to the community dedicated to the truth. They help you to transcend. And together, you dedicate yourself to the truth, and truth reveals itself to you. And that revelation, even if it is individual, its shortcomings and its errors are transcended because you are within a living tradition, knowledge, a knowledge community which rectify your errors, and it becomes a communal knowledge, at least the accepted portion of it. Young Heidegger represents, only here the great happiness of possessing the truth exists, one that no one can attain on his own or her own. Young Heidegger represents the believing realism of his teacher Karl Bragg, the Catholic, the Protestant piety of emotion is still too subjective for him, because Protestantism, if you compare it to traditional Catholicism, is subjectivism. And believing realism is believing realism is realism which is independent your subjective whims. And it's ultimately the realism you can't attain without a tradition, a true living tradition of knowledge and practices based on knowledge. Because through that realism you believe in that realism because al-haq, the truth, the reality, you accept the reality. Which is beyond your whims, and you realize it. If you realize it and you affirm it, that's what truth is. And you don't try to impose your will on that reality, or will that reality, that truth, through imposing your will on that reality. Rather, you accept it, its existence, its transcendence. So young Heidegger represents the believing realism of his teacher Karl Bragg. The Protestant pietist piety of emotion is still too subjective for him. In a review of F.W. Forster's Authority and Freedom: Reflections on the Cultural Problem of the Church, he polemicized against a narcissistic indulgence in experience against experience. What I mean by subjective experience here. Subjective against the impressionism of ideologies that reflect only personal moods, personal whims. but has no objective content. So you reject subjectivism for the objectivity, for a realism, for hiding that reality, uh, rather than hiding that reality through imposing your desires and will on the reality. Okay, Heidegger's standard argument against ideologies was that they adjusted to the requirements of life. So instrumental. So ideologies in this sense are the service of life, the self, the subjectivity. So they are instruments. Subjectivity can be, individual subjectivity or communal subjectivity, or even species level subjectivity, but they are instrumental. So their relation to the truth is also instrumental. But the instrumental relationship with the truth is to hide the truth under those instruments. You are making that truth the instrument of. So Heidegger's argument against ideologies was that they adjusted to the requirements of life, but anyone striving for truth acts the other way around. Subjects life to the requirement, he subjugates life to the command of his insight. So dedication to the truth means to turn your face whichever way the truth turns requires you to turn. So acceptance is important for truth. Once you realize that it is the truth, because once you realize that, when you instrumentalize truth, you transgress against that basic acceptance of the truth. To young Heidegger, it is evidently a crucial criterion of the truth that it is not to be had easily. I think difficulty itself is not the criterion, but truth is difficult because it involves transcendence of yourself, its desires, its and accepts because it is something true, it is real, it is the ultimate reality. Heidegger's standard argument was that they adjusted to the requirement, but anyone striving for truth acts the other way around. He subjugates life to the command of his insight. And that's the way to the truth. So truth, life, self, whatever. So dedication to truth. So one way is to instrumental relation with the truth, which we have in our modernist ideologies and scientific culture. Truth is just an instrument of life. You use truth selectively, subjectively, partially, not in all that it to accept it, but to use that insight to make life easier for you, or pleasurable for you, or bend life according to your whims, whether those whims are social, communal, or species level whims. On the other hand, dedication to the truth means that you transform your life according to the truth. So these are two different ways. When you bow to the truth, al-haq, or you make al-haq instrument of your will, your desire. So these are two different ways. One is the way of Rahman, the other is the way of Shaitan. I think we'll stop here and we'll continue from here next one, inshallah.